go over the top. But anything in the infield, it has to be short and quick, just because the bases are
stationary throws, basically. Okay, let's go over this. 6Us and 8Us, all right? As many coaches and as many helpers as you can have out there is very, very helpful. So they're throwing to a parent, all right, instead of kind of throwing to each other. You guys can do drills about, with catching and stuff too, but I do think it is beneficial to have a lot of help, all right? Have them throw to an adult, the bigger target you guys can catch. They're going to get more throws in that way, rather than throw, they got to go chase it, get a ball back. I'm going to go ball and glove, okay? I'm going to set here. I'm going to go like kind of a bow and arrow technique where I'm pulling straight out of my glove, okay? Palm down. My glove is going out towards my target, and as I go to throw, my glove is going to tuck in, and I'm throwing over the top. If you got a couple girls, like I said, that are a little more three-quarter, that's fine, okay? So I'm going separate, and then I'm throwing over the top.
All right, so what you'll see is they want to be so accurate that they lead with the elbow, and so even if they reach back, they kind of slow down, they get to this point because they want to be accurate, and then you'll see like a big push kind of at the end, all right? You lose all the snap in your wrist, you don't get a lot of rotation, and so for short distances, it's accurate, all right? But the problem is that if you try to do a longer throw, it just doesn't work, it doesn't get there. So what you want to make sure is that they know it's okay to throw the ball a little bit wild early, okay? Just because you have to learn how to throw the ball hard first, and then you can worry about accuracy a little bit more later. But if you never learn how to throw the ball hard, you're gonna run into a lot of issues as you get older. So that push throw, what you'll see is you'll see the elbow just really come forward, and then they have nothing left, so they have to kind of push it this way, all right? So that wrist snap is important to kind of get some snap, and you go down and across.
It's another good reason to have your kids kind of throw too. Same setup, in step, everything separates together, okay? These arms are essentially the same at this point, all right? And then from there, same stop. A lot of the girls like to do that one. Just make sure they're actually kind of following through towards their target, okay? A lot of girls like to stuff their whole hand in there. Some of them don't even separate their fingers correctly. So the young ones, 6, 8s, sometimes even the 10s. By 12s, they typically have it down. Make sure they're wearing their glove properly, because a lot of catching issues have to do, or fielding issues have to do with how they're wearing their glove, okay? Obviously, like, most players are gonna wear their hand kind of outside of their glove, all right? Don't really encourage them to like cram their hand up there unless they have like a tiny hand, basically, okay? We always go over the 2-finger shift, okay? You have a lot of girls that don't know how to like squeeze their glove or aren't strong enough to squeeze their glove at that age. So if you can get them to shift their 2 fingers over and kind of buddy these up so they're stronger, it's a lot easier for them to start closing their glove, okay? So 2 fingers, 1, 1, and then nothing. So the cool part too is you have a bigger pocket because of that, okay? So I have more room to actually catch the ball by doing that shift.
If your pinky isn't strong enough because you don't have 2 fingers over, the glove's gonna close this way, and it's gonna flatten out so there's no pocket anymore, all right? So we made all of our players, when we had a team, we made them all shift. So basically what you're doing is there's gonna be no finger in this hole. Everything's gonna shift to the left. And she's just kind of chilling on the mound, getting her signs, all right? Most of my infielders are gonna be kind of relaxed, even a little bit more up, all right? Now when the pitcher gets on the mound and she starts going into her windup, we wanna kind of step into our fielding position. So what I'm gonna do is just kind of just walk into it this way, all right? I'm gonna have my feet slightly outside my shoulders. Basically, my knees are bent, and I'm in a position where I can just run any way I have to, whether it's forward, sideways, or back, all right? My glove's gonna be out in front, all right? I'm gonna be low. As the ball comes to me, I wanna make sure that my left foot is slightly ahead of my right, all right? The reason I do this, it kind of sets up my footwork for my throw. So it's always gonna be glove side. So if I'm left-handed, my last step should always be with my right foot, all right? Most of us are gonna be right-handed, butt down, and then my wrist is always going to be back. All right, so as soon as I cut my wrist this way, my glove goes up, and then I actually might like not even hit it, or it's going to go underneath me. So make sure that their wrist is back so the finger stays down. They're so worried about catching the ball, so you'll see students, what they'll do is they'll like cradle it just so it stays in their glove because they're so worried about catching it. So bare hand stuff. Even if they don't catch it, all right, just kind of work on, and you can just open-handed, all right. So if I start up top, you can just go up top. Even if she doesn't catch it, she can kind of go there or on the side, and she's kind of like working on just balls, it makes them stay down, all right? But have them hit it back to you like that, just because the wrist will stay back, and then as they go through, all right, it'll just kind of keep the hand going forward, because you want this motion with the wrist staying back. A lot of them, as they go forward, they want to cup, they want to come up.
In between hop, which is probably the sketchiest one, right? You don't know if it's going up or staying down, all right? And that's the one a lot of them have a tough time with. We're always trying to stay low and adjust up, okay? We don't want to start up and stab down. But short hops are the ones that I feel like if you guys can get your girls to do this, this is huge, okay? Because a lot of them want to shy away from it. They want to kind of back up on it. They want to pull up, all right? Ball goes through the legs, okay? Start small. Start like just as close as Marcus is to me, and I want all of this done with one hand, okay? So if you have a girl that like wants to throw her hand out there, have her just put it behind her back, okay? But we're staying down, and I'm trying to go out and get it, okay? Like we were just talking about, even if you wanted to start this with tennis balls and have them just hit it back to you, that's fine, okay? If they're already like their gloves are pretty good, go ahead and just go straight into this. But yeah, you're just trying to basically go get it. But you will see a lot of girls that are kind of gonna pull up, all right? And you know, obviously it goes, like I said, through the legs from there. It's just kind of demo them. But for a visual, we would typically put a line, or you guys can put cones out, all right? But put a back line and a front line so they are actually going to get the ball, all right? So my goal is to actually go and attack the ball. But visuals are really good, especially with the younger ones, okay? Just to kind of actually get to this line before I field, okay? So super simple one. You have anything?
And as they move through, so if you're going to do roll throughs, just make sure, like most of the time they're going to go to first base, make sure that the momentum carries them towards where they're throwing, all right? So we would never like go forward to stop the throw. So the motion should be just continuous all the way to first base. So even if she threw it through, like if she doesn't even throw it, but her legs and even her follow through should carry her towards first base. It makes accuracy and the power a lot more.
Okay. So I would have them set up just in their regular squared up position, okay? Marcus is gonna throw it to the side, and I'm gonna try and stay down the whole time, okay? I like actually having them touch on the opposite side, all right? So they're not like leaned over. You're gonna see a lot of that, okay? So starting low, and I would tell them to try and keep their glove as close to the ground as possible, so they're not coming up and then stabbing back down at it. Same rules apply on this one, where you're trying to keep the fingertips of the glove pretty close to the ground, okay? That's also a great drill. You can even here and there. Sixes is not a thing, but you can definitely work on tagging, okay? But we're gonna do one-handed tags again, okay? A lot of them like to hold the tag on with two hands. This comes down to the glove thing again, okay? If you have a girl that can actually catch the ball in her pocket and actually squeeze the ball, they don't feel like they need that other hand in there, and one hand is always faster, okay? So have them just straddle the base, all right? A little bit out in front so you're not behind the base. I'm staying low right away, okay? I'm catching, I'm slamming it down, I'm pulling it back up, okay? So it's all in one motion. Just you wanna pull it back up quick. You can show the umpire, even if this girl is safe, sometimes they'll call him out because it's
Never cross our feet, all right? I cross my feet, I'm gonna fall over. So I'm either gonna shuffle, all right? And if it's too far and I have to run, my hips turn and I'm actually gonna run one way or the other. So on this one, you're just gonna have the player set up in the middle, all right? As soon as I'm just watching her, and so wherever she goes to, I'm just gonna feel, oh my gosh. You go up here. All right. Do micro version. All right, so just wherever I go, I'm ready, and then I'm moving. Good. And I can go through, and if I go to my backhand if I want to.
This one too, this one he's gonna give it back this time. So the drill before, just let him toss it behind real quick or get it out of their way, okay? We're gonna go forehand first, so he's gonna field, get it back to me. We're gonna go backhand, he's gonna get it back to me, and he's gonna take off. And then on the run, yeah, I know. On the run, catch, okay? And then you would go opposite way. So you would go backhand, forehand, and then they'll have to catch on the run the other way. Good with that one?
Which kind of leads to the outfield, all right? Infield gets, so most of the time when the ball's up in the air, for whatever reason, they want to get to a spot, stand still, and then reach, all right? So moving and catching, it's a really good. Whenever they run for a ball, they should always touch their glove. All right, you'll see like a lot of flailing arms. So the glove tucks, all right, but getting them used to catching and running at the same time is really good. So on our football drill, we just basically run routes around, and and then I might make sure that I can catch it and I can go in on the run. So if you go next, go get the ball to Dewey. You're gonna run around the cone.
Same thing, Marcus. This is orange cone. Forward. Yep.
Good. And
Yep.
she's catching on the run.
And then just like that, it's gonna be one-handed, okay?
And then they.
Just keep going. So the edge of the line, throw the blue cone,
You
and
get to go around
yellow,
the
then.
longest cone. So I want you to go all the way around the longest cone, watch that lip, and you're gonna try to catch it on the run. So you're gonna go this way. You're gonna come around the longest cone, right? You're gonna throw it, and I'm gonna catch. Adjust. Excellent. Left foot's gonna go back, her hips are gonna turn, and she's actually gonna run. Alright. So you'll see a lot of people shuffle. So they'll turn, but then they do this one and they go. Alright. So obviously in outfield it's a lot more area, so we have to be able to turn and run. So if I go over her left shoulder, she's gonna drop step, turn, and then go, and then just kind of catch it over.
And then don't let them stop until you actually like throw it, because they like to stop and just kind of jog and stuff. But let them like make them take a dead sprint out that way, okay? And then hit them on the run as best as you can. But we need it. As you get older, you're gonna just walk through it, basically, okay? So
you can have them start next to you, and then basically they're just gonna do like a little drop step back. All right, so go ahead and just drop step there. Yeah, and then you're just gonna throw it straight up, and then they come through it. And then the best thing about this, you can actually make a game. So set up a target, whether it's like an easy target like a net or a hard target like a bucket, and you can have team go against team, like two different sides, and they're just trying to hit the bucket. So it's like competition, who wins, who hits it the most. But what you want them to get through is, even if the ball is hit here, I want to break back so I can catch it moving forward, and then I can make a stronger throw. So throws in the outfield, because they're longer, you need momentum, just because it's hard to throw it off your back foot from the outfield unless you have just like a phenomenal arm. And even if you did, you're going to be a lot more accurate coming through the ball. All right, so get behind the ball, go forward. So initial step, you want to be very careful when the ball's hit up to me. If I don't know where the ball is, my step should never be forward, just because you can't have the ball go past you. So if I'm unsure, I'm always going to drop step back to make my way forward. If I know the ball's in front of me, then it's okay. I can just kind of go get the ball. All right, but we always tell our outfielders, you're the last line of defense. Some fields have no fences, and so if it gets by you, it's a home run. So you have to always err on the side of caution when you're playing outfield. Be a little safe, and then make your way forward. All right.
Rapid fire. Okay, there's two other drills. All right, and you do 2 teams, or you can do 3 teams depending on how many kids you have on your team. So first, second, short, and third, you're gonna set them up, and you have one coach that's just rapid firing the entire bucket to them. All right, and so the fielding gets like, the mechanics get a little broken down and stuff, but the goal is not to let the ball get to the grass. So everyone that gets to the grass is a point against them, okay? And then we usually have like, losing team does burpees or something like that. You want a lot of competition stuff. It's kind of fun to see them actually like compete with
The drill's good just because the objective is not only just to keep the ball in the infield, and they get really aggressive because they don't want to lose, but also communication. So like your shortstop and your third baseman are talking, all right? They're playing out second base and first base, so they're communicating with each other, and they can back each other up, that kind of thing. But the speed picks up when you do drills like that, because they're not just working on technique, which can get a little monotonous, but they're actually just like going to get the ball. Yeah. And in the infield, that's what you want. You don't want to ever be like afraid of making a mistake. You just want to go get it. If you make a mistake, so be it, but at least you got
So
the
put
ball.
them in their primary position, anywhere but first typically, and have them, you're gonna have the rest of your team as runners. So coach is hitting at home, all right, you have one fielder out there. Once the ball is hit to that fielder, and you can do different styles of hitting. You can do like, you know, something that's a little soft, you can do a chopper, you can do something that's hit hard, side to side, mix it up. But however many runners there are, that's how many ground balls they're gonna get, okay? So you have your team lined up at home with helmets on, one fielder, okay? Ball is hit, she fields that, tries to make the throw, tries to get their teammate out, but you just keep going, okay?
So if you have 11 on a team,
too.
basically your shortstop has to make 10 outs. They're trying to make 10 outs, all right? And it's pretty quick. So every time they make a play, they go back to their spot. The runners get to work on just like sprinting through and hitting that safety bag and breaking down over there, but it just keeps everything going. So, and the girls will get tired, but it's good. So it's usually in softball you get like one play. This is good because you get 10, and it's just like it's continuous. So if you want to go to your left, make that play, get back to your spot. If it's a chopper, I go forward, make that play, get back to my spot. So you're basically making 10 outs. You're trying to make 10 outs, all right? And the girls like it just because pretty much in practices, the more they're moving, the less they're standing still, the better the time they're going to have.
And they want to fight.
Yeah. I mean, just a lot.
All right, this one's kind of fun for them. So they're going to get in their fielding position. So you guys are going to kind of get low, like, yep. All right, and I'm going to tell them to either touch ears, head, shoulders. I can see it. It's already Okay, and then I'm going to say ball, and whoever reacts the fastest wins, okay? So you guys can line up your entire team this way and do like tournament style if you want to, okay? And have, you know, whoever lost, they're out this round, and then just kind of keep going with it, okay? You guys ready?
So as soon as she says it, you have to touch. You can't linger. All right,
ready? I love this staircase.
Yeah, look at that.
All right, ready? Head, ears, shoulders, knees, shoulders, head, ears, ball. There you go. Good. So it's just a fun little thing. Ready? Knees, ears, head, knees, shoulders, ears, head, knees, ball. He's gonna set up with his feet square towards the front of the box for sacrifice. Okay, there's a couple methods for bunting. I typically don't like the pivot method where they're pivoting. This game is kind of evolving a lot, so the pivot technique, the reason I don't like it is because they tend to have their barrel out in front of their body and not actually in front of the plate. So what I like instead is maybe even like a 3/4 turn, or even him just staying square this way. Okay, and then obviously he still has the ability to adjust his angle if he wants to go to first or third or whatever it is. Okay. As far as the grip goes, okay, if you have a player that can bunt with their hand at the bottom of the knob, great. If not, have them choke up a little bit, just so they have a little more control. Their top hand, this is where we get a little bit funky. So you have a lot of girls that don't really want their fingers to get hit, so they do this one, or they're barely pinching the bat, okay? What'll happen there is once the ball hits, it'll kind of jam into their hand, and then they just definitely don't want to bunt anymore, okay? So I have them usually set it straight up, all right? So the pincher technique, okay? And then I have them shift it, okay? So you have the whole pad of your hand against the bat, okay? Kind of deadens, if I do kind of bunt it maybe a little bit more towards the handle or off the cap a little bit, I don't get as much as of that buzz feeling, okay? So yeah, if you can have them set it right about where the barrel starts, okay, or is starting, and then have them shift it so the pad of their thumb is behind it, it gives you a lot more control too, okay? And it kind of deadens your bunt also. If we have, Marcus has your team for hitting, this is something that you can do on the side also. Doesn't require a lot of space. Just have a couple girls that are, shaggers, and then a coach, or even some of the older girls, even some of the aides, if you can get them to start kind of running your own stations, it'll help you out a lot too. Obviously supervise as needed, okay? So just regular bunt. You're just trying to get it down, okay? Try not to let them hit it. Some of them like to wind up and actually hit it.
So you'll see their hands almost back here, and then as the ball comes out, you'll see them really try to push it through.
Yeah.
All right. So the thing with sacrifice punch, you're going to show it early. So as soon as I see the pitcher do any movement, I'm going from here and I'm setting it out. My hands are always going to be at the top of the strike zone. All right. Anything above my hands, I know it's a ball. I can just pull back. All right. And then my barrel, if this is flat, I want to have my barrel not by much, just slightly above handle. So you'll see some girls that want to bunt the ball this way, and then they go to bunt it and just goes sprays left or right. So you want to keep it relatively flat, barrel slightly.
Okay, so Marcus is going to act like he's hitting for as long as possible, and then as the pitch is being thrown, so after you go through full windmill, ball is being pitched, he's going to drop and go. Okay, so like I said, it causes a lot of chaos with the defense because they have to move a lot faster. You'll see a lot of overthrows or girls not even able to get to the ball. This is, if done right, this is a base hit at least every time, okay? It's too hard to get to the ball, make the throw, and your bunter is already on the run, essentially, yeah.
So bunt for a base hit, you're basically just showing it late, and then the footwork is gonna be, if I'm right-handed, I'm just dropping my foot back. So thinking myself being in sprinter position, so when I bunt it, I'm ready to go. I can just get out of the box, all right? So it's just like a running bunt. Left side, the footwork's going to be a little different. Right-handers, I mean, there's probably going to be mostly right-handers. If I did a left one, it would just be kind of like that. So I see, like, if the tee is too far back. All right. So I would consider that ball position pretty deep. All right. And then what's going to happen, though, is if the ball's deep on her, she knows she wants to hit it off the barrel, so she's gonna like change her swing to make sure she hits it on the barrel. All right. So like when the ball's set deep, she might back up, she might pull off the ball, something like that. So what you want to make sure is whenever you're setting up the tee, always set up the tee out in front of home plate. All right. Just because I would rather have the hitter too far back than too far forward. All right. I just don't want to get jammed up and feel like I'm stuck in here. Okay. So when the ball's out in front, she's going to stay behind the ball, all right? Basic feet are like shoulder width apart, all right? Little flex in the knees, okay? The 3 stances are even, which is straight up and down to the pitcher, all right? Just like that, all right? Open is where the front foot kind of backs up just a little bit and then close, all right? So you can hit any of them, all right? I think that even is probably the most common. And then for some hitters that have a tendency of like striding away, I think, and also when you go open, sometimes hitters see the ball better because their head turns a little bit more and both eyes are on the ball. The only stance I do have some problems with sometimes when hitters close. It should look relaxed, but when she just holds her grip like that, notice how her elbows are down. All right. So the front elbow is always going to stay relaxed. Now when she gets set in her position, her back elbow is going to go up. It's only because the wrist hinges just a little bit. All right. So the grip stays the same. So I would never like change my grip. Stride foot, all right, stride, step, however you want to say it, all right. It's going to be soft and out in front, all right. Make sure the alignment on the stride is straight, all right. So you're always trying to keep that straight line just because it's easier to keep your balance, all right. So if you see hitters that step away, that's probably the worst place you're going to end up leaning on her front side. The problem is that all the weight shifts on the front side. She gets closer to the ball, and we teach a lot of legs when we hit, and when the weight shifts forward, to ask them to rotate is almost impossible, all right? So we want to stay pretty neutral on this, all right? And then the move is stride foot down, front foot drops, and as soon as that drops, backside releases, all right? So that hip rotation, as the hips clear, it's going to allow her hands to make a clear line out in front to the ball, so it's always going to stay straight. So she gets to her contact point, go ahead, all right, there. If she opens up her left hand, her back hand, it's going to be palm up to the sky, all right? That's how you hit line drive. So if she starts rolling over too early, all right, to there, okay, she'll hit a lot of ground balls to the full side. You can actually cut through and hit a lot of weak pop-ups to the opposite field too. So if you want to hit the ball square, she wants to get through the ball with her palm staying up. All right, go ahead and get through it again, all right. And then even after she gets through, her palm still stays up. And then the rollover happens at the end. All right, so then early this way, and then the swing kind of goes around the ball. All right, we used to do a drill where we just kind of keep the bat just rested on the shoulder. All right, and so you almost want to feel like, and you can break down the swing where the legs start to clear first. All right, and even though my hands aren't doing anything, as my hips keep going through, and if I pull through, it just kind of lets me go this way. All right, the other drill you can do is you can put something on the outside part of the tee, and then have them like just like a barrier, just have them kind of keep inside it and kind of feel that. So if there's a tee out there that they don't want to hit, and if they start getting outside this way, they'll actually hit something and they kind of feel that way. But most of that is when the upper body takes over the swing, and I use like a lot of my big muscles like my shoulders, it tends to look a lot like this, like a lot of rotation up this way. And if I use my arms a lot, it's really easy to lock out my arm early. So I don't actually feel my hands until I get to like this part of my swing. And then all my hands are doing is basically this. I'm just kind of throwing them out, all right? And it keeps my hands more inside. And when you stay inside the ball, you can hit different speed pitching. You can hit inside, outside. When you come around the ball, even if you time it up perfectly, at best you can hit a ground ball. Yeah, so there's no way to keep the